press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Okay, my dear students, few students have doubts in physical world chapter. See students, it is a world of science which deals with a study of natural phenomena. Systematically. That is systematic study of natural phenomena by following some methods, systematic methods. During the study of natural phenomena in the sense, say if I say a chuck when dropped from certain height, it falls under the action of gravity. It was first observed by Sir Isaac Newton by observing a free fall of an apple from a tree. And he gave some law known as a law of gravitation to understand a free fall of an object. Say, on the surface of earth, there is an object of mass m which is attracted towards the center of the earth. Whole mass of the earth is imagined to be concentrated at the center. What is the natural phenomena here? Free fall. Free fall under the action of gravity. Like that, say around the earth, earth is taken as a planet here, moon is the satellite, natural satellite of earth. It revolves around the earth. There also exists some natural phenomena, that is law of gravitation between moon and the earth. Let us say small m is the mass of the moon and capital M is mass of the earth. Here we say the natural phenomena here, a free fall of an object towards the center of earth. There is a force of attraction. Here also force of attraction. But we can combine this. These two can be studied under a common law, that is law of gravitation. Two different phenomena. Free fall of a mass m towards the center of the earth. And don't say that here moon fall on the surface of earth. There is a force of attraction between moon and the earth, but moon continuously revolve around the planet earth. So these two phenomena can be studied under one basic law. What is that? Law of gravitation, what we call as a unification. And this is somewhat we call as a unification of force, or we say law of unification of force. Two different phenomena can be studied under one basic law. We call this as a terrestrial domain. Domain means main thing, main concern. What is that concern? Free force, that is force of attraction between a body and the earth. Here it is celestial concern. Concern, or we say it is a domain. These two can be studied under one basic law, that is law of gravitation. What this is called as unification of a force. Two different domains, terrestrial domain and celestial domain, can be studied under one common law of gravitation, which was studied experimentally, and the formula given derived by and that formula is verified experimentally. To understand this natural phenomena, a scientist has done experiments, verification, and he has predicted and gave an idea, that is law of gravitation. So what we call this as unification of a force. Similar to this, there is two phenomena, electric phenomena and the magnetic phenomena. These two phenomena are not separable. We cannot separate them. Whenever there is electric field, there is a chance, there is a magnetic field. Don't say a chance. There exists a magnetic field. Whenever there is a change in magnetic field, correspondingly there is an electric field. What we call as a law of symmetry of nature. Means if I have some time varying electric field, and that time varying electric field can generate a magnetic field. Vice versa, by having varying magnetic field, it is possible to generate electric field. These two separately studied by Oersted and Michael Faraday. Means whenever there is change in electric field, means whenever there is a flow of current, flow of charges, a magnetic field can be generated. By adjusting the electric field, it is possible to get the magnetic field. That was verified experimentally by Oersted. Vice versa, means when there is a presence of electric field, by varying that magnetic field, it is possible to generate the electric field. That was separately studied by Michael Faraday. These two are not separable. And Maxwell, combining these two, he unified the theory of electricity and the magnetism by combining the two theories and said that light is electromagnetic wave. And he demonstrated theoretically by giving some experimental proof and by writing some equations. My dear student, those equations you will study in second PUC. For a moment, what this unification means, to study characteristics of light as electromagnetic. To study electromagnetic wave, Maxwell combined the theory of electricity and magnetism, and along with say optics, and gave some theory that light is electromagnetic wave. Theoretical evidence and equations were verified, and those experimentally verified equations has been accepted today worldwide. That is what the meaning of unification of. Here, this leads to force, my dear students. Here, theory of unification of electricity and magnetism, along with optics, there is a development of concepts of electromagnetic waves. Okay, any student, no need to tell the name of a student. If a student is satisfied with this, okay. Now you will learn those equations. Four standard equations given by Maxwell, which will explain the unification of both electricity and magnetism, leading to the study of electromagnetic wave. However, this existence of electromagnetic wave was experimentally verified by Hertz. That Hertz experiment is separate, my dear students. We cannot get into that Hertz experiment here. There is a experimental proof. The first experiment that was conducted by Heinrich Hertz. Showing that it is possible to generate electromagnetic wave. Hence, along with this experimental proof, worldwide, the unification of electricity, magnetism, along with optics that was proposed by Maxwell, throughout the world it is accepted, my dear students. It is what the unification means. Next one is reductionism. So one more concern in physics. Important domain. Say, I have a system now. Means, consider I have a cylinder fitted with a piston, and there is a gas molecules inside this container. There is a cylindrical container fitted with a piston. And this gas molecule is considered as a working substance here, working substance. Means matter under study. We call that as a system. And the piston and the container, we call them as the surroundings. Matter under study, like gas molecules. N mole of gas, let us say it contains N mole of gas. Amount of substance is measured in terms of moles. Gaseous substance is measured in terms of moles. And 1 mole of a gas contain Avogadro number of molecules. 6.023 10 to the power of 23. Number, it is a number, my dear students. How we got? It is a proof, number, pure number. We call that as Avogadro number. 1 mole of gas contain, 1 mole of gas has 6.023 10 to the power of 23 atoms. Means such a huge 10 to the power of 23. In the study of scientific notation, we said all numbers should be written in scientific notation. This is in scientific notation of the order 23. Then plus 23 means so many gas molecules here. Now what happens here when you supply some energy to this? Means if I supply some Q quantity of heat to the system, what happens now? Gas molecules will absorb energy. By absorbing energy, they gain kinetic energy. And the kinetic energy of all these gas molecules can be shown is equal to 3 by 2 kBT. Once the gas molecules absorbs energy, they create some pressure all around it. The average pressure created by all these gas molecules can be shown is equal to 1/3 of density of the gas molecule into their RMS speed. See here, what is happening here? Here, we have taken a big system here. A big, say, cylinder fitted with a piston, a huge system. I repeat, this system is a matter under study. Rest of the thing is surroundings. Here we say it is a bulk matter, you can say. Huge matter along with the piston, cylinder and the gas molecules. You can imagine that as a bulk matter. Once energy is supplied to this, what is happening? The kinetic energy of the molecules increases. This, along with this, as the gas molecules move by gaining the energy here and there, by gaining the energy, the gas molecules start moving here and there. They create some pressure on the walls of the container. The average pressure exerted by this gas molecule is this. Sir, how come this? You will study in detail, my dear students. To understand this, what this reductionism is. Here, after absorbing the energy, the gas molecules move randomly by gaining kinetic energy. As a result, the temperature of this bulk matter and hence the temperature of the system will increase. Temperature, comma, the internal energy and the entropy. They are, we say properties of bulk matter. Temperature, internal energy and entropy are the properties of this entire bulk matter. Here in this, using this formula, I can say that The temperature which is one bulk property of the matter. Matter is one which occupies some space. Gas has occupied some space. The temperature is one property of that bulk matter can be understood. We call this as a macroscopic property or a macroscopic domain, which is a huge thing, big thing. That can be understood by its constituent particles. What are the constituent particles of this matter? Gas molecules. These gas molecules are invisible. They are invisible to human naked eyes. By studying the kinetic energy of all these, microscopic, or we say constituents of the matter. This entire matter is divided into small particles, like say gas molecules. By the study of kinetic energy of the gas molecules, it is possible to understand the macroscopic phenomena. Means macroscopic domain can be understood with microscopic particles, that we call as reductionism. Studying a big property by combining the microscopic particles. The energy gained by these gas molecules, which increases the kinetic energy, is responsible for the rise in temperature. As this gas molecules gets disturbed here and there, on increasing this temperature, the entropy of that system will increase. The gas molecules becomes more disorder. They push the piston upward because of the expansion, because of the energy possessed by the gas molecule. They exert some pressure on the piston. The piston will be thrown up. Means gas molecules, they get arranged randomly, they spread. As they spread, order of degree of arrangement of gas molecules, amount of arrangement of gas molecules increases. They occupy some space, more space. They become more disorder. More the disorder, greater the entropy. Hence, there is a study of macroscopic concern, that is, entropy will increase. On what factor? On the microscopic factor. So that the study of macroscopic property, by combining the properties of microscopic domains, is what known as reductionism. And during this, what happens here is, heat energy that is developed here is pushing the piston up. Hence, some mechanical work is done on the surroundings. Heat, on supplying heat to the gas molecules, they gain kinetic energy. There is increase in temperature. Gas molecules expand, the volume of the expand. As a result, the piston move up. Work is done. Hence, what happens here? There is a conversion of heat energy into a mechanical work. This is what we call as thermodynamics. One of the students has asked, what is thermodynamics? It is a branch of engineering. Deals with flow of heat. Therm means heat. Dynamics means flow. Flow of heat. Not only flow of heat. Branch of engineering dealing with the flow of heat and its conversion into mechanical work. Vice versa. If this entire heat supplied is converted into mechanical work without loss, then the thermodynamic device has we call that as an ideal device. Efficiency is 100%, no loss of energy. Or if the entire mechanical work is written, or it come back to its initial state, we call it as a cyclic process. Like raining. On the surface of ocean, water gets heated by the sun rays. They gets converted into vapor. Lighter particles move up. During rainy season, all the water droplets come down. There is a cyclic process. Here also, if in this process, thermodynamics is a system in which it is a branch of engineering which deals with the flow of heat and its conversion into mechanical work, vice versa. And during this, if entire this energy is get converted into work and the mechanical work is returned back to its initial state during its cyclic process, if there is no loss of energy, that system or engine, we call that as an ideal engine. And that you will study in detail in coming classes. Okay? My dear student, during these study of natural phenomena, the scientists, they follow a systematic methods. They do experiments repeatedly and they predict something this will happen during the study of experiment, and they predict some formula. They keep on verifying. During this, they do some speculations. Means this may happen, they guess it. That guessing may be wrong. They give some false statements during their study. That false statements given by the scientists may happen during that. They may develop some wrong theories which do not have a perfect evidence. These incomplete ideas, a theory developed by the scientist, if it is incomplete, what we call as a conjecture, C-O-N-J-C-U-T-U-R-E, conjecture, means what they imagine may lead to a false statement. They speculate. Speculation means they imagine this may happen, and they may develop some theories. This will happen in science, my dear students. But the thing is, to accept a complete idea given by the scientist, whatever the speculations or information that was given by the scientist should be verified experimentally. The entire world should accept that theory only when after the series of experiment. Suppose if the same experiment is conducted, what the idea they have, they develop some idea during their study. Depending on that idea, they conduct some experiment on day one. They gain some result. Okay. They develop some formula. After say 1 week or say 1 month, say 1 year, if same experiment is repeated on the same circumstances, they have to get the same results. The result should not vary. Then those statements developed by the scientist can be acceptable. That is what a student has to, sir, is this a speculation and conjecture is allowed during this modern science? Yes, it is allowed. You can imagine that imagination may be a wrong. You may develop some formula that may be a wrong. By having that wrong idea, you do some experiments. After doing experiment, whatever the imagination or formula that you have developed, that should be true. To accept. To accept the theory what you have developed, if you repeat the experiment day after day, you should get the same results, then only those theories are acceptable. This is one criteria, my dear students. Other one, a student has asked about beta decay. See, my dear student, there is a phenomena called radioactivity. Heavy nuclei like uranium, thorium, polonium, protactinium, whose atomic number is greater than 80. Atomic number is beyond 80. They are unstable. Means if such a huge, say uranium-235 of 92 is bombarded with some, say, slow neutron, heavy nuclei which is unstable, when it is hit with some slow energetic neutron particles, it becomes uranium. By adding this, it becomes 236 of 92, suddenly disintegrate into its fragments like barium and krypton. During this, there is some loss of mass. Means this, we can call this as reactants here. Here what we call them as products. Means we know some basic laws of nature. Basic laws of nature. Dear student, from place to place phenomena can change, but basic laws of nature never changes. During these days in India and other some parts of the Asia, you may see rainy season. In other parts, a huge summer days. This change in phenomena happen from place to place, but the basic laws of nature will never change. That is conservation of mass, conservation of energy, conservation of momentum, conservation of angular momentum. Basic laws, my dear students, as the day goes, you will learn in detail. But for a beginning, I will try to clarify the doubts asked by some interested students. Be happy with these explanations and don't fear to ask the doubt, my dear students. A student should ask the doubt. Should, he or she. Basic laws, fundamental laws, we say them, they never change. It's a conservation of mass. Here, what happens here? There is some loss of mass and energy. So in this, during beta decay, during this conversion, that is heavy nuclei getting converted into its fragments, there is loss of mass. There is a difference between the mass of reactants and the products, and there is release of energy. We said there is basic laws in nature. There is conservation of mass. In order to retain the constant mass, the loss in mass is converted into its equivalent energy with Einstein's mass energy relation. This delta M is the difference in mass between the reactants and the products. This happens, my dear students. Because of this only, there is some release of energy. This should happen. You and me cannot do this. It happens on its own. That means there is basic law of nature. What is that? Law of conservation of mass. Mass remains constant. During this phenomena, this is one natural phenomena, my dear students. Phenomena by which a heavy nuclei disintegrate into its fragments with the release of tremendous amount of energy. Remember, if this entire uranium completely destroy into end product, huge amount of energy is released. That is enough to destroy the living things. All living organisms can be killed if just 1 gram of uranium-235 undergo a series of fission reaction. During this decay process, my dear students, there is alpha, beta and gamma. Not all these three are emitted at the same time. Not all the three radiations are emitted by the element immediately. That depends on what? Neutron to proton ratio. If this neutron to proton ratio is greater than 1, during this radioactive phenomena, not all the three alpha, beta, gamma are emitted at the same time. They emit one after the other. But that depends on the condition, my dear students. What that condition is? In that nuclei, if the neutron to proton ratio is greater than 1, then there is a conversion of a neutron into proton. Or if proton to neutron ratio is greater than 1, then proton gets converted into neutron. This is natural. You and me cannot take this natural phenomena. During this natural phenomena, there must be basic law of nature. That is law of conservation of momentum. Momentum means the quantity of motion of the particles. Momentum, quantity of motion of the particle, quantity of moving object. During this conversion, so depending on this condition, there is beta minus decay and beta plus decay. We call this as positron decay, and this we call as electron decay. This depends on the situation. It is an internal matter. If you say beta minus particle is observed, then you must say that neutron to proton ratio is greater than 1, and vice versa. So when this condition is satisfied, neutron gets converted into proton by emitting beta minus particle. Here, when proton gets converted into neutron, there is an emission of beta plus particle. During this journey, during this interconversion, dear students, there is loss of momentum. The initial momentum that was created during this conversion, neutron to proton, during the radioactive phenomena, if momentum is not conserved, usually not conserved, in order to conserve the momentum, in order to satisfy that basic law of nature, along with beta minus, my dear students, there is an antiparticle. We call this as antineutrino. Why? In order to conserve the momentum. For conserving the momentum. Along with this electron, beta minus, antineutrino particle is emitted. During this, suppose in that radioactive process, proton to neutron ratio is greater than 1, then there is a conversion of proton to neutron by emitting positive electron. That positive electron is called positron. Again, there is a loss of momentum. During this conversion, momentum is lost. In order to conserve, to maintain the initial momentum, what was the initial momentum? Final momentum should be there. To maintain constant momentum, there is another particle called neutrino. Neutrino is emitted. That is beta decay or true process. This happens during the phenomena of radioactive only when neutron to proton ratio is greater than 1 or proton to neutron ratio is greater than 1, depending on this situation. And these two are emitted at the same time. No. I told not all the three particles are emitted at the same time. This may happen now. So now suppose after emitting beta minus, the parent nuclei is said to be excited. And that excited nucleus will come back to normal state by emitting uncharged particle gamma. if radioactive element satisfy this condition, undergo beta minus emission, where there is a conversion of neutron into proton, along with beta minus, to conserve the momentum, antineutrino is emitted. This conservation of momentum, my dear students, experimentally verified by Pauli. Who gave the correct idea? After we told, in order to develop some theory, scientist has to do some work. It is their work. And they have studied, they have given. You and me are studying, my dear students. During this, he said, in order to conserve Pauli has suggested that there is a loss of momentum. In order to conserve the momentum, these anti-neutrino particles during beta minus, neutrino during beta plus are emitted. Dear students, here neutrino and anti-neutrino are elementary particles. Neutrino and anti-neutrino are elementary particles. They have weak nuclear force. Means the force of attraction between these elementary particles is very least, and it is of the order 10 to the power of minus 13. That is also experimentally studied, my dear students. And they give the number. I am giving that number. That is weak nuclear force, it is of the order 10 to the power of minus 13, means negligible. And this lifetime is about 10 to the power of minus 24 seconds. That is the smallest time that exists in the universe. Can you imagine this number, 10 to the power of minus 24, how fast they are? Means in a negligible interval of time, these elementary particles will come and manifest. Manifest means they do some changes. What the changes? The loss of momentum is retraced, is get back. They make elementary particles make to conserve the momentum to remain constant. They are elementary particles. They have weak interaction between the particles of the order 10 to the power of minus 13. They are all uncharged particles, my dear student, uncharged particles. Negligible mass. And their lifetime is about 10 raised to minus 24 seconds. Such particles are called as elementary particles. These neutrino and antineutrino are emitted only during this beta decay. Antineutrino during beta minus, neutrino during beta plus decay. Means during these reactions, we told there is some basic laws of nature. In earlier, I have written uranium-235 when bombarded with slow neutron, producing barium and krypton, and there is a loss of mass. To conserve the mass is converted into energy. The difference in mass is converted into energy. That is one basic laws of nature. That will never change. Phenomena can change, my dear student, from place to place. These changes of climates, winter, summer. They are not same, rainy season, they are not same throughout the entire world. During September, entire world do not get rainy season. But when the natural phenomena changes from place to place, but wherever you go, the basic law of nature should remain constant. Means if there is a conservation of mass in this India, in other country, law of conservation of mass should valid. So along with that mass, law of conservation of mass, energy, momentum and angular momentum. Few students have asked about momentum, linear momentum and angular momentum. Let us understand, my dear students. Conserve means remaining constant. Whatever the initial value is there, final value should be there. They should not change at all. That is the meaning of conservation. Momentum means the quantity of motion that is a product of mass and velocity. So for example, there is a bomb which is at rest. It is at rest now. Means initial momentum is 0. Once this bomb explodes, assuming that this bomb splits up into 2 fragments. If I add these two mass, I should get back this. Say one of the mass will move with a velocity say v1 and other will move with velocity v2, say in a perpendicular direction. Need not they move in perpendicular. It may move in other direction also. Just for understanding, I am giving this example. What happens? This momentum is a vector quantity. There is a combined momentum here. These two will combine such that the resultant of these two is along the diagonal. The resultant momentum of these particles move along the direction of their resultant. They are perpendicular. I say root of this one is P1, this one is P2. Applying Pythagoras theorem, I get P1 square plus P2 square, which is the momentum of a particle M1 and M2. What happens now? The entire system is moving in this direction. But in order to conserve the momentum, my dear student, there must be some another particle of the same kind, of the same, which is from the same bomb. Say I have taken 2 particles here. What is the resultant of these 2? That will move along this direction. If it is the case, then momentum is not conserved. In order to conserve the momentum, I should have some another particle of the same bomb which will balance this entire momentum such that this final momentum is same as that of this. Say, let us say if this entire system is moving with a quantity x, the third particle also should move with the same quantity x but in the opposite direction to conserve the momentum. It is natural law and nobody can change this. One thing. Second one, you could have observed firing of bullets. Firing a bullet from a gun. Initially what happens here, both gun and the bullet are at rest. As I told, these two particles should always move in the perpendicular direction. Suppose if they move in perpendicular direction, there must be another particle of the same bomb which will balance this momentum but in the opposite direction to conserve the momentum. So what happens now when both are equal here, equal and opposite, what is the net momentum here? 0. Here what is the initial momentum? 0. In this case, if it move in say along the diagonal in this direction, there must be third particle which moves in the opposite direction so that the magnitude is equal and opposite. Net momentum of the body is 0. So initial momentum is 0. That is the meaning of a conservation of momentum. Quantity of motion remains the same here, my dear students. Here, firing a bullet from a gun. Bullet is of small mass, gun is heavier. Let us choose like this. Capital M is mass of the gun, small m is the mass of the bullet. Initially, both are at rest. Initial momentum means quantity of motion. Momentum means quantity of motion is 0. Once bullet get fired from a gun, now tell me what happens? Does both bullet and the gun move in the same direction? As you observed that our Indian soldiers, great soldiers are fighting against the terrorists with China and the Pakistan. Our Indian soldiers are fighting against them by firing bullets to them. Have you observed how does the gun would move when a bullet is fired? Have you observed? As a bullet gets fired, bullet move forward with some quantity of motion. Bullet move with some forward with some quantity of motion. M is mass of the bullet. Velocity is velocity of the bullet. Lesser mass, greater velocity means it has some momentum. Now in what direction the gun has to move? We say gun recoil. Recoil of a gun. Means gun of mass m, capital M, it will move with velocity v but in opposite direction. Do you mean that these two velocity are same here? I write big letter here. This is small v. Do you say both will move in the same direction with same speed? Never. It will never happen. It is a basic law of nature. It should hold good wherever you go on the entire universe. Gun has to recoil. Do you mean that gun will recoil with the same speed as that of bullet? No. To conserve the momentum, in order to maintain the constant momentum, when bullet move with certain quantity of motion, with the same amount, the gun has to move backward. Greater mass, gun move with the lesser speed. but in opposite direction, hence the net momentum becomes 0. This is what? The conservation of linear momentum. One of the basic law of nature. And last, what a student is asked is angular momentum. The same you have to apply, my dear students, in case of rotational motion. This is what we say in case of linear momentum. The same concept, the same idea that you have to apply, but formula is different. Here what we write? Mass into velocity. In case of rotational mechanics, mass is samanagi I barithi, where I is a moment of inertia, rotational inertia. You will study in detail, my dear students. Like mass, there is a moment of inertia. Like velocity, linear velocity, you have angular velocity, that is I omega. Here we write P, here we write L. This should remain a constant. Means as we studied here, initial and final should remain same. Here also, final and initial should remain same. That is I final, omega final is equal to I initial, and omega initial should remain constant as we explained here. This is in case of linear, this is same in case of rotational mechanics. To understand simply, see here. Can you answer for this? Just answer for this, my dear question. Assuming that the sun is at the center, assuming Allah, it is true, sun is at the hero of the solar system, main star of the solar system, who is always at the center of our solar system. Around this, all planets are revolving. Say planet 1, planet 2, and planet 3. So here is 1, M1, M2, and M3. My dear student, just give among these 3 planets. Just to explain, I have taken M1, M2, M3. They all revolve around the sun in an elliptical orbit. My dear student, just give an answer. Sitting at home, if you are responding or if you are listening this doubt class, M1 is closer to sun. Let us take only 2. Among M1 and M2, which one is revolving faster? M1 is faster than M2. Let us say this speed is V1, this speed is V2. If I write V, you should call that as linear speed, but in rotational mechanics I say omega 2, this one as omega 1. V1 is greater than V2, that implies omega 1 is greater than omega 2. A planet near to the sun revolves faster than that planet which is far away from the sun. Why it so? Why it happens so? In order to conserve the angular momentum. It is a natural phenomena, my dear student. Nobody, you and me, can go and stop the rotation. Highly impossible. What the natural phenomena is? Revolution of a planet around the sun. There is a force of attraction between the planet and the sun, force of gravity, celestial domain, and hence there is a centripetal force. That centripetal force is provided by the gravitational force of attraction between planet and the sun. Now M1 is moving with greater speed than that of M2. Why can't the reverse? Yeah, omega 1 should be slow, omega 2 should be faster. It never happens. Why it happens so? There should be some basic law of nature. That is conservation of angular momentum. To conserve the angular momentum, if one is faster, means that depends on. Here, the product is constant. Product is constant means, suppose if omega is more, this I should be less. As we studied, mass of the bullet is less, its velocity is more. Bullet. For a gun, mass is heavier, velocity is less. This happens to maintain a constant momentum. When bullet is fired from the gun, to conserve the momentum, heavier body will move with lesser speed, lighter body will move with greater speed. That happens on its own. There we have conserved the momentum. Like that, if omega is more, I is less. And you should know the formula. I just give the formula, my dear students. Moment of inertia is given by mass of the body and square of its distance from the sun. Or you can say radius and ankodi. Not exact radius irala, elliptical irodrinda, it is not exactly circular. Distance will change here. Where R is average distance of the, I can write average distance of the planet from the sun. Average distance of the sun from the, average distance of the planet from the sun. Now let us call this as R1 and this, let us call this as RT here. What happens here? R2 is greater than R1, that means I2 is greater than I1. When say I2 is greater, if I increases, I2 increases, its angular speed should decrease. Like that, a planet near to the sun is moving with greater speed. Why it happens? To conserve the momentum, angular momentum. What happens here? Moment of inertia of 1 is less. Moment of inertia is less. Why it is less? Because R is less here. For first planet compared to R2, R1 is less. When R1 is less, its moment of inertia is less. As a result, omega 1 should be more. This is possible in order to conserve the momentum. This is what the basic law of conservation of angular momentum. Angular momentum should remain constant. Dear students, plenty of problems that you will learn in rotational mechanics of your first PUC. Okay? With this, I hope, my dear students, you have gained something, and other students who have not asked the doubt, ex-student who is asking the doubt, when other student listen it, I feel that they would have realized what this is. Okay? I hope today class is a clearing of doubts what a student is asked. To the best of my knowledge, I explained. Okay, thank you. Take care.